globally, people have mastered the skill of ignoring Black issues.
Definitely go back and watch this full video because she is definitely giving us something more to think about. And I know that as a therapist, that the things that we don't spend enough time trying to know about, learn about, and sort of sit in, we are 100% unable to do anything about. So I want to give you a different perspective because it is the month of May, which is National Mental Health Awareness Month. So I want to make us more aware as we can be. But first, let me go ahead and introduce myself. Hey, Sunshine, I'm Dr. Donna Oreo. I'm a sex and relationship therapist in the Washington, D.C. metro area. I work in that intersection between sexuality and diversity, equity, and inclusion, which means that I'm going to be bringing just a little bit of these things to this conversation so that you can have a different understanding or at least a slightly different view. I'm not just going to tell you what the issue is. I'm also going to give you an idea of how we can begin to combat this particular problem. So the question basically that is being asked, though not asked, is why aren't we paying attention to what is going on in Congo, DR, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and Sudan with the same level of verve, of oomph as we are with what is going on in Palestine now. This is not a video to say do not pay attention to Palestine because free Palestine is definitely the cry that we should be making, in addition to free Congo, free the Democratic Republic of the Congo, free Sudan, etc., and Haiti. Right? We are saying it's both. It's not one or the other, and I just want to make sure that I make that clear because I know that on the internet people like to hear what they didn't hear anybody say, and I want to make sure that I'm making myself clear. So let's get into it. The first point is this: desirability politics. Desirability politics continue to play a role in the way that we show up because desirability politics are not just about who it is that you desire sexually, who you want to be with. It is also about who you believe to be worthy of time, attention, care, and help. And where it comes right down to it, colorism, texturism, and the penchants of xenophobia mean that many of us do not believe that people on the continent, are actually deserving of our eyes, of our attention, of our help. Because we lack the desire, we have not yet seen continental Africans as being full people in a lot of ways. Like quiet as it's kept, there is a racism that happens here at home, but there's also a racism that happens in the global space. So we know that racism in America specifically happens where white folk are firmly entrenched at the top and Black people are firmly entrenched at the bottom, and everybody else is sort of in position in the middle. The same thing happens globally, where the Western white world is placed firmly at the top, and the entire continent of Africa is placed firmly at the bottom, which has everybody else going ahead and jockeying for position in the middle. As far as who and how we're going to see them, who and how gets help, because let's be clear, the United States is sending billions of dollars to Israel and so sending millions of dollars to what is going on in Haiti, actually not in Haiti. I don't know that they're sending any money there, but to the Democratic Republic of the Congo and Sudan. Right? So part of this is because there is a dehumanization process that is going on whereby we believe that certain people simply have less intelligence. They're more subpar intelligence, animalistic. They're prone to violence. They have failed to integrate themselves into the Western technology boom and pull themselves up by their proverbial bootstraps because we have not recognized the ways in which that the Western world continues to this day to flourish off the ways in which they continue to denigrate, harm, and interfere with what is going on elsewhere in the world. We are people who benefit from that. And so it is easy to see them and say, like, y'all aren't doing what you're supposed to do for you. And we and so many of us in many ways, even when we're talking about traveling over yonder, we speak about it as though we're doing them a favor as opposed to we're doing ourselves a favor. Right? As opposed to what we're taking, right? And part of the view that we continue to get is that poor Africa, the country, requires help from rich Western people. And for $1 a day, you can feed this child, right? We're not thinking about it as far as global power structures and how the siphoning of someone else's resources is helping to shore up the power in other spaces, right? So I would also say that there's a cognitive dissonance that is continuing to go on. And cognitive dissonance specifically is where your beliefs and values are out of alignment with your behaviors, right? And the point is this: we are complicit in a desire for our comforts, which requires their resources. So it requires our eyes to be averted elsewhere. It is uncomfortable for us to talk about what is going on in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. It is difficult for us to talk about what's going on in Haiti. It is difficult for us to talk about what's going on in Sudan, not just because we do not see it, because out of sight, out of mind, but also because we're unwilling to do the additional step, the additional research to know what is going on and to talk about what is going on because we are complicit. I said what I said. We are complicit in the death and destruction of a people because we see our complicity in our very hands. Look at your phone. Your phone is part of your complicity because their resources are required for our technology. So it makes it difficult for many of us to talk about it in the way that we would talk about Palestine, because in Palestine, there's nothing for us to be necessarily complicit with other than the fact that you must pay your taxes or they will put your ass in jail. Whereas with this, you are buying your complicity and hoping that your purchase of your technology will add to your comfort, will add to the ease with which you're able to communicate with other people in the world, and will hopefully earn you the type of money that your betters have, that you believe that you too can easily have and earn, right? Because there's a hoarding levels of capitalism, and we have been taught to protect that capitalism by saying that, well, we don't want to fuck up somebody's business because, well, it is what it is, it costs what it costs, and da-da-da-da-da. We're not considering the ways in which the CEOs of many of these companies are just continuing to hoard and hoard and hoard and hoard more millions and millions of dollars hand over fist, and that they actually could afford to pay fair market rate for some of the technology, for the resources that they want from these spaces to be able to integrate into their products. And it's not even that they're not stealing and passing the savings on to you. They're stealing and still charging you an arm and a leg and pocketing the difference and firing the people after they have helped them, do whatever they need to do, because they're just trying to find ways to get more profits. And the problem is that we are somewhat complicit in that because we believe ourselves to be the temporarily embarrassed poor instead of an undercast system that continues to be denigrated and harmed and will continue to be denigrated and harmed, so that a few people can call themselves billionaires, and we may very well see the first trillionaire in our lifetime. And that part of this is because we think that those people who have been cherry picked could one day be us, that one day we can earn our way into that type of money, when it is not earnable, and it's certainly not earnable without harm to other people. There are no honest come-by billionaires, but we like to believe it because they have continued to foist us on this idea. And our further comfort is also in the fact that we love our Temu. We want our fast fashion, which poison the planet and poison the people, right? We want the things that we want at the price that we can get it, because here we are an undercast system, but we forget that globally we are part of the global power structures and not actually the underclass there. And that is a part of our own shit that we are not necessarily willing to look into, because it is hard to think of yourself as being a part of the global power class when you locally don't feel that power, right? But our consumerism helps to further some of this shit along, and that is where the cognitive dissonance come in, and that is also where the dehumanization continues to live, because if we see people as people, then we have to look at our behaviors and what can we do to change them. So what can we do? And I want to point out that this is a very, of course, light version of, number one, what we can do, but also a very light version of how sexuality and beauty politics play into the mental health, as well as play into the behavior that we are exhibiting and the ways in which we are not taught or seen to pay attention to these things. Because even in our very TV shows, you can watch a global cooking program and there are no represented Africans there. No country in Africa will be represented there. And we do not even see them as missing. We just see it as regular because we have been taught not to see them, and to further dehumanize them, that they don't have enough culture that they would be there to make their local dishes. But I digress. Let's get into what we can do. What we can do is try to avoid some labels. We can try to seek connection and try to seek story and try to seek ourselves within the story as well, because that helps to humanize things for us, to rehumanize somebody. But additionally, we can do our inner work to see the ways in which we are already participating in local and global racism, as well as the ways in which our ideals around colorism, texturism, etc. continue to be part of what plays into this. So hit me in the comments, friends. I know know that this was long. Discourse, not disrespect. Keep it cute or I'll block you like I block these celebrities. Bye.